How's it going, everybody? I am DeanoGTO, and today we're looking at the Type 4 Heavy, the Japanese Super Heavy at Tier 9. So, this tank here, I'm currently playing it here with the 127mm gun, with 450 alpha and 230 penetration. Out of the 3 gun options this tank has, this one does aim the fastest, but the problem with this gun is, punch-wise, this thing, it doesn't feel that satisfying to use, because 450 alpha at Tier 9, even though you can have rolls like that, is kinda meh. And just to give you context, this gun only has 12 more penetration than the than the 50 TB prototypes gun, and only has 10 more alpha. So it's a pretty lackluster gun for Tier 9 heavy tank of this size. But pretty much the reason why this game ended up being the way it was because of that enemy E75 who for some reason decided to 100% suicide at the very beginning of the game, for unknown reasons. I really don't know why you would do that in an E75 at the very start of the game. He just kind of decided to drive out into the middle of the open and get shot by everything. I wonder maybe he confused the E75 with the T95, I don't know. But you're going to see here that it takes a while for this tank to get to the top of the hill, and I'm just going to show you like what this thing is actually like when it comes to speed, at least for a few seconds, just so you can see just how slow this tank is. Like, I'm at 8 kilometers an hour here, and you can imagine how boring this was to watch. I think at this point I started just playing a game on my phone because I was just like, yeah, this is going to take a while, and I really didn't feel like just watching the screen as like nothing happened, because I'm not going to be able to shoot anything because nothing's going to be in a position to shoot me from here, at least at this moment. It's not until I start climbing the actual hill that things might start shooting at me. But yeah, just to find something else to talk about here until something happens, because as you can imagine, it's kind of boring having nothing happen for a while. And I'm actually going to put this in ×2 here for a second. So, this tank, gun-wise, it has a 14cm and a 15cm as the 2 top gun options for this tank. So, if I'm honest with you, I don't know why they introduced the 15cm onto this tank, because the 15cm seems, or no, the 14cm seems like a perfectly usable gun on this machine, and I really just don't have that much of a problem with it. I don't understand why people have such a just hatred for it. It just seems like a nice gun to use for the most part. It has 600 alpha damage, which is 40 more than the new Polish Tier 9 heavy tank, the 50 TP. So it has the highest alpha damage of like a standard AP round at Tier 9 on a heavy tank. Like, that's pretty awesome to have that in your corner. So I'm really not sure why people hate that gun so much, because for the most part for me, that gun's been a lot of fun to use. Oh, and by the way, probably one of the most just enjoyable things to have happen is when an Object 257 assumes you're using the 15cm gun, because everybody in these things seems to do that. And then you just whack them as hard as possible with the 14cm gun, because if you didn't know, you need a gun that's bigger than 135mm in order to overmatch the side armor of the Object 257. So whenever one of those is angling at like 45 degrees, thinking, yeah, there's nothing anybody here can do it to me, because that guy's going to be using HE, that guy's not going to have the gun caliber, and then you hit them with 14cm, and suddenly they recalculate their plans very quickly. Because getting hit by a 600 alpha damage gun and usually whacking them straight in the engine or the fuel tank is just immensely satisfying. It's so much fun to do. But now we're actually getting into the second part of the fight. I'm glad I set aside to speed it up for a second, because, well, there's only like one more thing I really want to talk about during like a lull in the action that I can really think of. So yeah. I tried to go for a shot in the T71 CMCD there, but unfortunately it didn't really go to the direction, or well, it didn't go exactly where it needed to go in that particular circumstance. I got shot by an M4190 and an IKV-90B from the left hand side, but at this point I'm getting kind of suspicious as to why this T34 doesn't seem to be interested in shooting. I'm just thinking to myself, like, I have a feeling this guy's probably either ammo racked or he's reloading premium rounds, which turns out, yes, he's reloading premium rounds, because of course he is. He's using premium APCR on a gun that already has 248 pen. He has the same penetration as the WZ-121 FT, and of course he's firing premium rounds because, you know, completely necessary at this range. I even tried to go for an engine shot there just so I could try and like light him on fire or something like that to try and finish him off. But he must have been stunned or like ammo racked or lost like a loader or something, because he doesn't ever fire the gun again. He gets one shot into me and then he doesn't get another one. But the Crusader SP thankfully finishes him off for me, because that ram actually did kill him, which was a surprise. But because I was stunned, that shot went nowhere near where I was aiming when I was aiming at that T-29. And this is just the kind of thing you expect when you're driving this sort of tank. You just get whacked by artillery pretty much continuously, but whenever you have a super heavy small liner, like I do on this thing, you don't really mind too much, because even though it's a mild inconvenience, that's all it really is. Because, well, you're a super heavy tank, you have a shit ton of health, and, well, you just really don't care that much about getting stunned every now and then, because usually you're at such close range to your enemy that you can just kind of just auto-aim at them and just whack them in the face with an AP round and penetrate them. But I finished off the T-29, and you might have thought it was kind of weird that I was focusing on that guy so much, because I wanted that guy dead. The reason why is because I saw that he was using either the 76mm or the 90mm gun, and if that guy was clever, he could perma-track me in a situation where I get tracked. So that could be a really annoying situation to come across later on in the game, so I figured it was probably best just to focus this guy 100% and get rid of him as quickly as possible. And here you can see the T-54 Mod 1's moving up alongside me, and we're going to try and just sort out these tanks that are camping out in this forest. So M4190's back there, but because I'm stunned, I didn't really have any hope in hell of hitting that shot, but I figured I would just try it anyway. WZ-120 shoots me with I believe a premium round, because I heard like a slight sizzle. It was sounded like a heat round to me. Scorpion G did pen me with a heat round with an APCR round, which is kind of unfortunate, which puts me in one-shot range of, I think it's the Waffentrigger Panzer IV. If he's using the 560 Alpha gun, I'm in his one-shot range now. If he's using the if he's using the 15cm gun, I'm yet again in his one-shot range. And now the Scorpion G decides to YOLO rush into the T92, but well, he pays for that pretty hard. And the WZ-120 is just kind of sitting there at this point in time. I believe he's trying to get a shot into somebody in front of him, but the artillery chooses this moment to try and get a shot into me. But, well, I'm going to use this as an opportunity to finish him off and get a little bit of artillery revenge. The Waffentrigger Panzer IV, interestingly enough, is using a 15cm gun, which is really odd to see, because typically when it comes to Waffentrigger Panzer IVs, those things pretty much exclusively use the 560 Alpha, 276 penetration, 128mm gun. So it's weird to see one of them use the 15cm, even though a gun I believe has 246 penetration these days. Well, at least if he's using the upgraded version of it, but I can't really tell from here. But I get the kill shot on the Waffentrigger Panzer IV and got a shit ton of assistance damage for just leading that charge and doing all the spotting while everybody else got the damage. So I'm on 4,600 spotting damage in a Type 4 Heavy, which is hilarious to me. I'm doing 3,000 damage and over 3,000 damage blocked by armor at this point. And I fire a shot at the WZ-120, but the WZ-120, I clipped the back of his turret to bounce off, but just while, actually, you know what, I'll just wait until the game is pretty much over before I start talking about something else. So WZ-120 falls back perfectly into the line of fire of my gun, and I get a shot straight into the side armor and finish him off for another 340 damage, getting me over the 3,000 damage mark. And I think combined, I had 7,900 damage combined with assistance damage, and 3,000 damage blocked as well. So, pretty nice combination there. But one thing I want to mention here, just before I quickly go into the result screens, is this tank here, unlike the tier 10, does actually feel balanced. It does have weak points that can actually be exploited in the right circumstances. So this area here and this area here, so basically the mirror image on both sides of the tank, are only 200mm of armor. So they're actually very easy to penetrate for most tanks that this tank can actually come across. The main thing you depend on is the Type 4 Heavy actually giving you the option of shooting those areas, because in city fights what you do is you roll around a corner with this shoulder here kind of covered up, with the front plate kind of poking around the corner. It does mean that some premium rounds and things like that can potentially just go through your lower area of the tank down here. But if you're hiding this like shoulder plate here and somebody's expecting you to continue coming around the corner, you can actually use this as like a as like a you can use it as kind of like bait. That's probably the best way to try and like phrase it. So you can kind of like look as if you're coming around the corner, try and get a shot off, and then just stop just before you get around the corner before they have a shot at the shoulder plate. And a lot of people will fire anyway, even though they don't actually have a shot. They just kind of assumed that you were going to do something, and because they assumed that you were going to do it, they didn't really think it through whenever they just fired the shot anyway. So you can just roll around the corner without taking any damage and just whack them in the face with whatever gun you're using. And that's one thing I do like about this tank. It actually has weaknesses you can use to your advantage, and that sounds weird, but when you're driving heavy tanks for a long time, you do realize that there are a lot of vehicles where you can actually use your weaknesses to actually make the tank feel better than it is. And tanks like the KV-5 were the perfect example of that for a very long time. So, yeah. As long as you're just aware of the weaknesses on this tank is actually pretty easy to fight head to head. The only thing that's really stupid about this machine is the 15cm gun. I really hope Wargaming looks at that gun and rebalances it significantly. Personally, I would like them to give it like maybe like 950 like HE damage on the standard rounds and completely remove the premium rounds, because I really don't like that gun in the slightest. And if they do want to keep some sort of premium round on that tank, or well, not on that tank, on that gun, the only other option I can think of is have like a 700 damage like heat round as well, or something like that, or like that has like 250 penetration or something. Like just have that as like an option, because that gun I wouldn't change the reload on. 21-second reload still is pretty decent for a gun of that alpha damage. Especially considering for the most part it would probably be firing HG rounds rather than firing heat rounds or IP rounds. Meanwhile, this gun here has about a 14-second reload, and interestingly enough, the 14cm gun has a 17-second reload, so it's actually kind of linear as like how the reloads go on this tank. So it goes from 14 seconds to like 17 seconds to like 20.5 seconds or something. It's kind of weirdly linear. But yeah, this game was an ace tanker in the Type 4 Heavy, and I was actually kind of surprised this was an ace tanker because it was only just over, it was just under 1300 XP, which was a surprise because like if I remember correctly, it was like 1280 XP, which seemed kind of low for a Tier 9 heavy tank. But then I remembered like most people really don't really think about like the way they're playing it, and most people don't get lucky enough to get matchmaking like this. I will openly admit this was a very, very lucky game. But yeah, it was fun, and I just kind of wanted to show you what this tank was like to an extent. So yeah, let me know what you guys think of this video in the comment section below, and also credit to that Crusader SP. Just gonna say that Crusader SP had a monster of a game in that match. So yeah, let me know what you guys think of this video in the comment section below, and thanks for watching. I will see you in the next one.